I had to leave my life behind. I dug some graves you'll never find. The story's told with facts and lies. I have a name, but never mind. It's Wyatt actually, Wyatt Earp, so yeah, remember that name. Wyatt, together with his brothers, led a life on the road, going from one boom town to another. Boom towns were communities that would get a quick increase in population once they discover an expensive material that could be resold. Earp was a jack of all trades when it came to finding a job. He was a saloon/brothel keeper, deputy sheriff and marshal, gambler, and the list continues. Back then, being a gambler was as legitimate as being a doctor. Many of these jobs Earp had on multiple occasions, even at the same time. Wyatt was an assistant marshal in Dodge City when some wise guys decided to rob a construction camp. Earp was chasing them down for over 400 miles, which they were totally not cool with. They came back to Dodge City, went to a saloon, destroyed it, and harassed the customers, the usual way, singing songs with zero talent, making them guess an obvious impression, as well as forcing them to sit through their improv comedy show. Wyatt heard the noise. He swung the saloon door open. There he was greeted with 3 guns pointed in his face. He swung the saloon door open. There he was greeted with around 30 guns pointed in his face. He swung the saloon door open. There he was greeted by 100 aliens pointing alien guns in his human face. One of these scenarios happened, depends on who you want to believe. Anyway, Wyatt would have been killed if a random gambling dude didn't put his gun in the bad guy's face and saved Earp. That random hero was Doc Holliday, Wyatt's best friend from that day on. Earp soon learned of another boom town, Tombstone. Yeah, it was called Tombstone. From his brothers Virgil and Morgan. Virgil was already a city marshal over there. That's where his encounters with the infamous cowboys occurred. The outlaws stole some cattle from the US Army, but Virgil retrieved them with the help of his brothers. During that time, an election was held. In order to be a county sheriff, Wyatt was hoping that his Republican candidate would win, as everyone expected. However, the Cowboys were in charge of a precinct that had 10 eligible voters. Out of those 10 voters, exactly 103 voted for the Democrats. The ballots were given to kids, horses, and dogs who surprisingly all agreed with the points the Democrats were making. Also, a few other unpleasant situations followed, so naturally the Cowboys didn't appreciate Wyatt's efforts and started threatening to kill the Earps. 6 of the Cowboys gathered in Tombstone, which meant the Earps needed to respond. But how are we going to fight them? It's illegal. Hold on, what's that behind your ear? It's a US Deputy Marshal badge! Being Deputy Marshal meant that suddenly everything was okay to do. The Earp brothers, together with Doc Holliday, approached the 6 Cowboys, who quickly became 3 Cowboys after half of them ran away. The famous gunfight took place at the OK Corral, which is just between the awesome and the average at best corral. The remaining Cowboys were killed in a gunfight that lasted only 30 seconds. You know how it goes, your first gunfight experience is rarely a proud one. Although Wyatt became famous for all this, it was probably Virgil who had the central role. The Cowboys obviously decided to retaliate. Virgil lost his arm and Morgan was killed. Wyatt couldn't just accept that, so he decided to go on a revenge for what was already a revenge. Together with Doc and other friends, Wyatt went on what is known as the Earp Vendetta Ride, which really doesn't sound as cool as they thought. After a year of hunting, the Earp group killed around 20 Cowboys and ended their organization. Wyatt never had a single wound. After that, Earp's life became what it already had been before, going from one boom town to another, doing everything that would result in a paycheck. He lived to be 80, having never returned to Tombstone again. Be sure to like and share the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next week!